Hey guys, welcome to the first ever episode of my new podcast, Reel It In. You know, like the movie Reel It In. See what I did there? This podcast will be about all things fandom, movies, books, TV shows, so Star Wars, Harry Potter, maybe some Lord of the Rings, whatever book my friend and I happen to read at the same time. But today we'll be talking about the first couple episodes of Mandalorian Season 2. With me today is my friend Connor, who will be in most episodes, but not all.
Hello there.
Hello.
Yeah, I'll be here for probably a big portion because Star Wars and the MCU are kind of big things, but I definitely am not inclined at all to talk about Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and stuff of that because I do have a certain speciality for Star Wars.
Yeah, so you'll get to hear my albeit deep voice for Harry Potter. So, to get this first episode started, the second season of The Mandalorian has debuted the day before Halloween. What do you think of it so far?
Wow, really starting off with a fastball. So it's kind of hard to say because we're only 2 episodes in, but it definitely just kind of picked up where it left off.
Right. Well, based on the first episode alone, I actually already have a theory. So, something that I found interesting, and this will go into my theory a little bit later, but I think in each season of The Mandalorian, Din Djarin, which is Mando's real name, will acquire something that eventually reunites the Mandalorians. Because in season 1, after he finished his mission, one of his payments was a tub basically full of Beskar. And that's what the old Mandalorian armor is made out of. It's pretty much indestructible. So, and then it's kept being said, the Beskar is finally returned to the Mandalorian. So I think season 1 was him acquiring the Beskar. And I think season 2 could be the lightsaber. Could get returned to him, or he could get a blade that is either the lightsaber's equal or a sort of twin to the lightsaber. So in regards to this lightsaber, we know that the original owner was Tar Vizsla, and he was the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi. It was stolen after his death by Clan Vizsla, and it was last seen with Bo-Katan and Rebels. And by the end of Mandalorian Season 1, we see Moff Gideon has it. So we don't know how he got it, but he has it. And it's said that the lightsaber is supposed to be a pretty powerful saber, more than typical lightsabers, kind of like how Kylo Ren's saber was supposed to be extra powerful, and the reason why he had exhaust ports was to have like an exit for that extra power, even though they didn't really play into that all that much in the movies. But I feel like for Mando to hold off his own to defeat Moff Gideon, he's gonna need some sort of edge, and at first, I think the edge may be Ahsoka Tano, because she's an extremely powerful force wielder, and she may be wielding her twin white blades, which I think would be a direct contrast to the lightsaber. So I think something that could happen is if Moff and Ahsoka start battling it out, I think one saber could overpower the other. Although I don't really think Moff Gideon could hold a candle to Ahsoka's abilities. But we also know that
if you all watched Rebels, specifically season 2, you'll know that she kicked butt. I'm not allowed to swear on this podcast.
She kicked booty.
Yeah, for those of you who know me personally, know that I swear like a true Irish sailor. She completely just demolished the Inquisitors and held up pretty well against Vader at the end of season 2. So,
Right, and also we do also know that by the time the Rise of Skywalker happens, unfortunately Ahsoka is dead. So if Ahsoka dies in The Mandalorian, one, I would use up all the box of tissues I had in my house. But two, it would fall to the Mando himself to protect Baby Yoda. And perhaps he would do that by getting a saber of his own. And this is where the crate dragon in episode 1 comes in. Because I saw it, thought it was really cool, and so I was doing some research on them after chapter 9 aired, and discovered that they actually need to consume rocks to help digest all the things that they've eaten, which is crazy because it has like the most corrosive stomach acid you could ever imagine. And sometimes, although pretty rarely, the rocks that the crate dragon eats contain some kyber crystals. And the corrosive stomach acid of the crate dragon helps actually pressurize the crystal, and it turns it into a pearl, which is what we see the Tusken Raiders holding after the dragon is blown to bits, after Mando basically allows himself to be swallowed by it, and that poor bantha with the strapped with explosives, and they all blow up. And I got my hands on a Star Wars fantasy game source book. I think it's called Gear and Gadgets. And according to them, lightsabers with a pearl emits a powerful and destructive blade that actually howls when it's ignited. And I also realized that in order to create a lightsaber, you have to use the Force. So I don't really think this will be Mando's saber per se, but I do think it may become Baby Yoda's. So I think Baby Yoda may be the one to construct the lightsaber, and he'll do that because Ahsoka may have taught him a thing or two about the Force. I think that because of Ahsoka's standalone book where she built her own now 2 lightsabers, because in the book she's collecting a bunch of spare bits of metal, and she doesn't know why she's collecting them, but she later uses it to construct her sabers when she gets them from the Inquisitor that she kills. So in this season, I'm going to be on the lookout for spare bits of metal, although I do think some Beskar could be used, as well as that tiny knob that Baby Yoda kept playing with from Mando's ship in season 1. And although Mando may use the saber from time to time, I think after he has utilized it for maybe to fend off Moff Gideon or some other foe, he might keep it hidden away for the day that Baby Yoda can properly wield it on his own. And if that does happen, I think it could signify that by the end of the Mandalorian series, Mando and Baby Yoda will represent the unity between the Jedi and the Mandalorians after so many years of them being enemies. So that's my theory. What are your thoughts?
So it's kind of hard to come back from that. So with everybody kind of theorizing with season 2, there obviously is a very big demographic that is centered towards previous Clone Wars fans and Rebels fans. Mm-hmm. There's a drone outside. So I think people definitely want Ahsoka and Rex and Sabine to make an appearance.
Was it already confirmed that Ahsoka is, but also Sabine would be making an appearance?
No, because fans like to throw stuff out and say it's confirmed when the two big daddies of the series have not come forward and said anything. So that's where I think fans just have to be a little careful on what they read and then what they expect. There are other things that Dave and John have done, though, that has kind of pleased a lot of fans and is wondering what direction it'll go, and is the resurrection of... Well, not resurrection, but the reveal of Boba Fett surviving the Sarlacc pit at the end of episode 1. If you haven't seen it, I should have called spoilers on this very early on, but I mean...
I was not very happy about the Boba Fett returning.
I mean, I'm indifferent about it, because it was the same way in Legends. He was pulled out of the Sarlacc by Dengar, a fellow bounty hunter ally of his. But I'm indifferent towards it, really. I don't really care. And I'm just curious to see what the significance of that is going to be, at least in this season or the series going forward. Because it's not just, I don't think it's a 2-season thing. They already have season 3, I believe, actually confirmed from Mr. Favreau. So there is a lot of source material still up in the air.
Yeah. I have a question.
What?
So, because Boba Fett is like the clone child, basically, with Jango Fett, who was the original, I guess, design of the clones. So, was Jango Fett originally a Mandalorian?
No. Oops, there goes my phone. No, so that is kind of a big point that they've tried to make, and they said it in the Clone Wars season 2. If you have not seen the Clone Wars, I highly encourage you to go back, because if you like The Mandalorian, it'll not only provide a lot of context, but it's an amazing series.
Very good.
For me, it was my generation Star Wars. For millennials and then the tail end of like Gen Z, like we didn't have, we were there for the tail end of the films, for the prequels, but this was like definitely our generation, but it's a great series, provides a lot of context. I'd go through and watch it, and then there are certain episodes of Rebels that will also tie into that, so certain characters that'll show up. Speaking of Rebels and theories, people really want Ezra to show back up too. So kind of in the way that...
I don't think he would be until like at least season 3, though. I don't think he would be in season 2.
So I would think that he would have a higher chance of showing up.
That means that Thrawn would also have to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool if like we got a live action version of Thrawn. Maybe not even in like the Mandalorian series itself, but a separate one. So if Jango Fett is not a Mandalorian, how did he get the Mandalorian armor?
So supposedly he had killed a Mandalorian and just taken his armor. It's pretty plain and simple.
Okay.
But they anyway, back from my tangent, they confirmed that in the Clone Wars, because Obi-Wan goes to visit Satine, because the Death Watch, which was basically the leftist, the radical leftist of Mandalorians, kind of starts to become a threat to the Republic at the time, and so he's trying to resolve this, whatever, and he said, I encountered a bounty hunter called Jango Fett who wore your same armor, and Prime Minister Almec was like, no, he was a pretender, he was a fake, he was a fraud. And just to make a quick note, not only is it canon, but that was also George and John, who did a lot of, Jon Favreau, who did a lot of the work for that arc. So in terms of writing, I definitely do like Jon Favreau working on this, because he had the most involvement with the Clone Wars and those arcs, and being a crucial character by the name of Pre Vizsla. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he knows what he's doing, and Dave Filoni, of course, knows what he's doing. The apprentice has become the master. But I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff in the air. The seasons, I'm a little wary of some of the pacing. I just wish it was a little bit faster.
Yeah, I feel like episode 2 is very quickly to have what some people argue to be a filler episode.
Right. to rebuke that though. So one thing is like people do like to kind of get upset. There's a couple different sections of Star Wars fans. The ones who are just upset for the sake of being upset. Sometimes they have every right to be. Other times, not, and they like to theorize. And I think Sam Witwer's put it this way: don't give in to your dark side, and just like keep a level head. Just like stay focused and don't get too wound up on your theories or on what's right and what's wrong or whatever. There are certainly critiques, but it doesn't make it like not my Star Wars,
Right.
But anyway, like people complained that this episode or chapter 10, The Passenger, was a filler episode.
Right, which is the newest season 2 episode.
Which I could not watch a big portion of because I'm arachnophobic, like terribly so.
Oh, I have another question about them too, since you are my personal Star Wars encyclopedia. I was because they appear in Rebels when they go to that planet, which I forgot the name of, unfortunately. I assumed that those...
Wait, Adelon?
Yeah, when they're trying to establish their base.
Yeah, chopper base on Adelon.
Yeah. So I was under the impression that those spider creatures were only, like, that was their planet.
Native to there.
Yeah, I thought they were native. And so then they appear on this ice planet, and although it was cool to see them and for me to recognize them, I felt very knowledgeable. But I was also a little confused that they were there.
Well, so to kind of put it in perspective, right? I'm going to try to keep it light for my own sanity. Tarantulas, right? They're not native to one part of the world necessarily. Like they exist on various parts of the planet, sometimes more densely than others, but like they exist in different places. They're able to adapt in different climates, whether it was like
because this is two different climates. Like you got ice and you had like a desert.
Which like I don't know enough about spiders. I don't frankly care. But I mean, I didn't know that they would be able to adapt to that or if they like that, but there is some concept art from Ralph McQuarrie that has them in like a kind of cold looking cave when he first designed them. I think back in like the 70s or 80s. So I mean that design comes directly from him. He's like pretty much the reason Star Wars looks the way that Star Wars does.
Right.
But I think it's more just like they exist, they adapt. It's probably a different species too, because from the very small glimpse that I had before I had my little meltdown, it was pretty big. It was pretty large.
It was larger than the Rebels ones, at least from my... Put your phone somewhere else, Connor.
So, I mean, I think it's just like a different subspecies, but it's the same thing. But yeah, I definitely recognized what they were the moment they came on screen. I saw those eggs and I'm like, oh no, I know what these are. I think I know what these are. Please don't be there. Please be like a reptilian snake or something different. And then the child, little baby, goes, because for some reason he's incredibly hungry in this episode.
He doesn't like those bento boxes that Mando keeps giving him to eat.
No.
When he was trying to eat those lizard lady eggs, like my stress level was so high.
I knew that's where that was going too, because he looked at it and I went...
Yeah, right when he looked at it, I was like I was
my
trying.
Boy is hungry. I know that look. I know that look because I have that look on a daily basis. He's hungry. But anyway, like it's weird that a little obsession with eggs and meat, but I think that's just because he's growing. But he opened it up and I saw what it was. I went, oh no, I know what that is.
Yeah, I will say, because you didn't really get to see it, that the transition from animated spider creatures to, I guess, CGI / live action spider creatures, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I also like that in The Mandalorian.
That's why I'm upset that I can't, and it's not like a purged like phobia. It's just a weird psychological default. So I can't appreciate the episode like some other people do. So I'm honestly pretty pissed about it.
Oh, maybe you'll just
Sorry, I'm a little mad about it.
tape open your eyelids and just watch it.
Oh God, no! I would have a seizure.
But I'm glad that in The Mandalorian, like, we get to see a bunch of these different creatures that, and although Star Wars is full of, you know, different creatures that you might see in passing in all the movies, there's never really like a focus on them. And so I'm kind of glad that so far in The Mandalorian, we've had a little bit of more focus on the creatures, because I do think that they're pretty interesting. And so I'm glad that is happening in this series.
Yeah, to kind of close off the tangent on creatures with The Mandalorian, just because I'm getting a little off track, but I do want to say, in terms of things that I do like about the series, is how inclusive it is with everything that has been done so far. So it is a pretty good tie-in between all the expanded universe,
right,
and with the old stuff and the new stuff, because you see alien people from, I can't think of the politically correct way to say that, so I apologize if I offend any Twi'leks out there. But you see like Twi'leks, you see Rhodians, you see some of these creatures that you've seen in previous films, and it's not just the new ones, or it's not completely different creatures. It's fairly inclusive. Mm-hmm. But to get back on track with the whole filler thing, it is kind of oddly paced, but the thing that everybody is kind of glazing over, I feel, is the fact that the New Republic, right, has risen up from the Empire and is the new form of government. And they show up, and a quick shout out to Dave Filoni, my ace pilot.
Trapper Wolf.
Yeah. Or is it Trapper Wolf, right?
Yeah, that's his name,
yeah,
right?
So no surprise there with a name either, because I know
he's
Filoni
like obsessed
loves his
with wolves.
And he does not like monkeys.
I think people probably glazed over it because, and I'm one of these people, at the beginning when, you know, they're trying to get the stats from the Razor Crest, which is Mando's ship, I had a really hard trouble understanding like the dialogue that was going on between the three of them.
Well, I think it was just technical jargon. And a lot of it was like jurisdictional jargon. And again, that was kind of strangely paced. At some point, there was like a really long pause that I just went, oh wait, we're still going. But I mean, I know what it is. I can acknowledge what it is, and it's just the same thing. Like if you're crossing a border and you don't have clearance, or I don't know if it's like there's protocol for like transportation that you need to follow. You can't just freely like
traverse.
Yeah, you can't just like fly wherever you want to. You need to have a certain level of clearance, and a certain reason. But I think people are glazing over the importance, at least at the end, that basically Mando is pardoned for what is perceived as his crimes against the New Republic, which, like I mentioned, is the form of government. So it does still have a very important significance. It was just through the unfortunate mishap with the spiders.
Right. I think some people might not actually...
On the planet that is not Starkiller Base, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But I think there's also, like, the audience may not have realized that, you know, Mando has really committed a crime. Because I don't think until this episode, I was kind of like, why are you stopping him? Like, he's just trying to travel. And then when they're talking about the crimes at the end that he had committed, I was like, oh, he is a bounty hunter. He has done some things that probably aren't the best. Yeah. So I think that's something that everyone should remember, that he is not, you know, he's made some questionable
not good,
choices.
But he's also not bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of starting to err on the side of good, but like he said, at the end of the day, he's a bounty hunter.
Right.
He's just a man trying to make his way through the universe.
He's just trying to get paid. and then spend his paycheck on armor. Like the most of us do.
Right. Because, like, if he was on the good side, quote unquote, you'd expect him to partner up with the New Republic, but instead he's just like, get out of my way.
I know. I'm kind of mad that they just like left him in that icy thing. Because he was like, how about I forget these 3 bounties and you help me get out of here? And they're like, LOL, no. And like left. Like you just left him. And this frog lady who only had like 24 hours to get to her husband to continue her line.
And I'm sure there's something there too. I'm just not able to piece the puzzle with that.
Right. I probably will have to watch that episode again because like you said, the pacing was a bit.
Have you watch it for me,
weird.
Or maybe I'll just listen to it.
I'll hold your eyes open.
No, please don't.
Speaking of armor, going back to episode 1, before Fett, was revealed at the very end, I liked the little nod to his armor. I thought it was a nice nod to him. But now that we know that Boba Fett is still alive, I think what could happen is that he might try to steal his armor back from Mando. Maybe not steal, but he might try to acquire it back. And I feel like Moff Gideon might also hire Fett to try to get Baby Yoda from Mando because Fett was the best bounty hunter basically in the whole galaxy, of
his time. That's,
yeah.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Because, I know. Because why would you show him?
And he was hired by
Darth
the right
Vader.
hand
Yeah.
of the Emperor.
Darth Vader. And he delivered Han Solo to Jabba.
I really didn't think about it. That's a good...
Yeah. Because if he did have his armor back, he would be able to go toe-to-toe with Mando.
I mean, he's getting pretty old.
Yeah, I'm sure he's living in the desert all these years. I'm sure he's picked up he stayed loose,
A rat in the desert. I can't do a good Sam Witwer. My register does not go that low.
Oh yeah, that British accent he does too is a little interesting. So
the one thing that I can't get over is soon, very soon. It like hits the way he says soon. Those O's just like hit like the top back of his palate. It's just like it's funny to me. It's amusing to me.
Right.
So
Also,
soon, very soon, we will learn the secrets of the Mandalorian.
that was such a good Darth Maul though. You're like, maybe not.
No. When we go back and have to listen to this, I don't think so.
But I'm not you. I'm talking about like the actual Darth Maul. Not you.
Wow. Okay. Fine. So no, I'm kidding.
I'm talking about. Anyways. Also, did you notice back to episode 1? Because I feel like a lot of stuff happened in episode 1. That the Tusken Raiders and the people of Mos Pelagos working together, especially in today's times, is a pretty powerful message.
That's true.
Because I also feel like what that episode did is it sort of redeemed the Tusken Raiders, especially after Attack of the Clones, where they killed Anakin's mother.
Well, pretty much the entire franchise. So like even in Legends, they're not really people. Like they have a culture and everything, but like they're still kind of demonized.
Right.
Because it's just a very brutal kind of what is viewed by many as like quote unquote primitive.
Like savages, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely something there with like the acknowledgement of just like stopping, breathing, breathe, reach out, and then see that there can be mutual understanding between people that benefits both parties.
Right.
And then it's everybody is happy, quite literally speaking.
Yeah, I kind of liked how they downplayed the baby a little bit in episode 1, even though they did make up for that in episode 2, because there was a lot of baby in episode 2. But at the end of the day, this is a show called The Mandalorian, and not
the Baby Yoda show.
Not the Baby Yoda show. I will be very sad though if the arc with Baby Yoda eventually comes to an end. I will miss him. I will miss him so much.
The poor baby. So cute.
Yeah, not that he'll die, but eventually he's gonna have to find a way back.
I mean, even Ray thinks he's adorable.
Who?
Ray.
Oh.
Did you see
Ray Park?
No. Ray Skywalker.
Daisy?
So the holiday special trailer. There's a little
There's another one.
Yes. So they are remaking a Lego version of the holiday special of Life Day. I forget when it comes out.
Probably on the holidays.
It's in the next couple of weeks on Disney Plus. But it's basically just a Lego version of the holiday special, except it's going to delve into the idea that Rey goes into that world between worlds, which was a big moment in Rebels season 4.
Which should have happened in the movie, not in a holiday special.
But we can table that for another discussion, because there is a lot that can be said there.
Very true.
But yeah, I don't know enough to summarize it in confidence, but it's kind of the gist of that, and stuff happens, and all the worlds all the timelines kind of converge at some point. And it's just kind of wacky. It's Lego. It's what they do best, is just kind of be wacky and silly.
True.
And I'll probably pay very loose attention to it just to see where it goes.
I didn't even know that they were doing that.
Yeah, it comes out in a couple weeks from now. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today, unless you want to add anything, any last minute discussion topics.
No, not really. Unlike you, I was very unprepared. So I'm just kind of...
Well, I just had my theory I wanted to get out there.
I'm just going through the crazy mess that is my brain. I have papers and files all over the place. Nothing is put into folders where they're supposed to be.
Your brain desk?
We threw out his name! What's his name? It's like the one time I went to a family reunion, someone asked me, how old are you? And I went, hold on, took out my calculator, subtracted the year I was born from the year that I was at the time, and told them. So
it really be like that sometimes. I know that I am in my early 20s, but the exact number is not always in my brain.
Like, I am a legal adult.
Right, I can drink. I know that. 22, I think. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on the first ever episode of the podcast Reel It In. The topic of Mandalorian, at least the first 2 episodes of season 2, has been reeled in. So thanks for joining. We will provide an email address below. Give us your comments, critiques, anything, and let me know what you thought of my theory. If you have one of your own, please let me know. And I will see you, or I'll hear you. You'll hear me next time. Toodaloo.